Coming up on episode 6, we'll be interviewing Chris Hardy of Sheffield S6 Foodbank. They launched in 2010 and expand to 12 sites, feeding 1,500 people a week, including 600 children. They distribute over 500 tonnes of food per year and coordinating procurement for over 50 food banks across the country. The Food Bank became an independent charity in 2023, and Chris's mission is to eliminate food insecurity and debt across Sheffield and expand this model nationwide. Hi, welcome to today's episode of the Winners of Sheffield podcast. We are here at the S6 Food Bank with the organiser of it all, Chris Hardy. Chris, thanks for coming on the episode.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. We're looking forward to chatting.
Nice one, thank you very much. So what we generally start with at the start of each episode is talk about you basically.
Yeah.
How we, whereabouts in Sheffield you're from, where you grew up, how you found growing up, schools, any mentorships, that kind of stuff. So over to you, where you began.
Yeah, so I was obviously Sheffield born and bred, brought up at Darnell. Spent most of my life, early life in Darnell Manor, Handsworth, and then moved over to this side of Sheffield when I was about 30 and became a drug and alcohol worker. So that's what I was doing.
Right, where did you start the drug and alcohol work at?
I used to work here.
Right.
So based here. And that's actually where the food bank started from, actually, with some of our guys who had issues, like chaotic lifestyles. They were noticing families on their estate just needing food.
Right, okay.
So I started bringing them down and saying, can you help these guys? And that's how we basically started.
So this is classed as is it the Neeps End side of Sheffield?
Yeah, Neeps End, yeah. If we want to be posh, we say it's
Keller.
We're tagging on Keller. So if I want to be posh, it's Keller. If I'm not bothered, it's Neeps End still. Yeah.
So whereabouts did you go to school in Sheffield?
Darnell. I went to school at Darnell and then went to school in Stradbrook as well.
Right.
Yeah, it weren't brilliant.
Was it City School?
City School, yeah, that's the one I went to.
Oh, City School?
It's a fancy academy.
Some of the academies now.
They do. Good word. They do polish them up. I mean, it's completely different. My mum still lives across the road.
Does she? Yeah.
From the school, actually.
My wife and my mother-in-law literally across the road. It's Smeltwood.
Yeah, that's where my mum lives on Smeltwood.
It's always
Yeah.
On Crescent, right?
Yeah, she's my
Is it? All right. What's your mother called?
Carol.
All right.
Yeah. Are we related?
Just drawing the line there.
It's just a different show, isn't it?
That's it, yeah. We can sell that later on. For a cracking start. So we by the sounds of things, or from where you answered that, you weren't massively an academic then? Or?
No, I wasn't. And actually, at that time, on the manor of Stradbrook, all that area, there wasn't that many outlets to get you out of the area, really. So obviously, your life is very different to how some areas of Sheffield are, and that's just how it is. So we try to, again, that's one of the reasons my passion about Sheffield is making sure that every person who goes to school has a chance to become whatever they want. Mm-hmm. And that's one of our cornerstones of Food Bank, actually make sure we feed the kids, keep them in the schools, so that actually they can become whatever they want it to be. And that's a real passion of mine, that they shouldn't be influenced, or they shouldn't be able to become something they can't because of their postcode. And I'm really passionate about that.
Definitely a bit of a postcode lottery.
Absolutely, yeah, and it should be really. So we just try to make sure that every kid's fed, well, every adult as well, but definitely every child's fed, and then we just, so they can stay in school, achieve the grades, keep them out of the gangs or whatever it is.
How did you find the role of being like a drugs and alcohol worker before you started?
It was brilliant. I mean, it was great working with the guys. I mean, you learn more. I had a drink and drugs pass.
Right, okay.
So I had my own issues with that, and then obviously as soon as I got clean and sober, I wanted to get back, is what I wanted to do really. I just wanted to change the life around, is the bottom line. I just wanted to do something different. I mean, I've done it for so long, you're just going nowhere for 10 years.
I've spoken to, I can't remember the name, but there's a famous podcaster at the moment that's doing around Northwest. He comes to Sheffield once or twice, who's had his own drugs and alcohol problems, and he's now leading a major podcast, but he's basically saying that there was a light, a moment that changed him. What was your life?
Somebody died, or two people died actually, because of my own lifestyle, and then you have a thing then of actually, am I going to be next?
Yeah.
And it still took me 4 years to get out of that situation and that's why I moved to this side of Sheffield, to be perfectly blunt.
Yeah, just keep away.
Just to try and keep away from influences and all that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
And
So
that's
it took you 4 years to get clean.
Oh, it took me 4 years to get clean, and
Did you
just
ever-
out of it.
Did you ever have any sort of going back to it?
No, I was really fortunate. Some people call it willpower, what you want to call it. I just over one weekend, I got faith. I believe my faith was a big part of it.
Right.
That I got clean over one weekend of drugs and drink. But then my battle wasn't really with drugs and drinks. It was with my mental health and why I was actually using the drugs in the first place was actually a big challenge. You know, I was and all that stuff, and that took. I mean, I'm still on. I'm an ongoing case, but it took me, especially for the first 10 years of my second marriage. It took a toll on my wife actually, because I was angry, violent, not violent towards her, but just outbursts, all that kind of stuff. So I've had counselling. I had to work through all. So it wasn't actually the drinking the drugs; it was what was causing that in the first place that I had to work through.
And without digging, too deep, where did that stem from? Was that?
I don't really know, really. I mean, just I'm quite a confrontational person. I think even now I'm still confrontation.
Sit back.
I know exactly. I know, yeah. I'm quite happy. I'm more happy to have an argument with people rather than being. I mean, honestly, I don't know what. I don't know. And the trouble is, I can flick, and that's the real issue. Is how you stop that like a flick of a light switch. I can be talking like this normally, and then I could everything used to go. So that's the thing that really unnerved my wife, and she's an absolute saint to put up with me. We're now 23 years married and having a very different marriage, and she's the one who grounds me really.
So, as I said, we're here, Nick said, to be
absolutely.
S6, Foodbanks. Let's talk about the origin of it. When did it start?
So,
how long ago did it start?
2010. I was a drug addict, just working down here, working with the guys, and they started bringing people down from the estate, saying, "Look, these guys." It was the time of Wonga, so Wonga and all those great money lending companies were going to people's bank accounts and they're just stripping them empty.
So a hook, wasn't it?
It was like an hook. It was easy money, but then you could never escape it.
Like legalised loan shark.
And the trouble now is actually, obviously we never want to see the Wonga days, but there's lots of loan sharks still about, illegal ones unfortunately. So there's lots of still issues around that. But so anyway, the guys I were working with started bringing families down to the food bank and saying, "Look, this person needs food. What are you going to do?" And that statement has always stuck with me, even still today. What are you going to do about it? And it was a flippant comment by one of the guys, but actually it really stuck with me. Actually, and I do that more and more actually with what we're going to do out at Sheffield and with the national supply chain. But what am I going to do? I'm going to stand up and do something about it. And it was one family we helped, then it was 5 families and 10 families. And then it's like, well, actually, there's a real issue on the estate. What are we going to do about it? So at that time, we were under the church charity. So I went to meet the leadership and chat through about what I thought.
Which church was this?
St Thomas.
St Thomas, right.
Yeah. So we were underneath St Thomas at that time, and we were our new charity. We just formed a new charity about a year and a half ago now.
Okay.
Just because it's the scale and size is just so big these days. So and they were great. They gave us a building, let us run a food bank session. We were really small at that time, and for the first 4 or 5 years, we were feeding like 8,000 people. I mean, still a lot of people. 8,000 people a year from 4 sites, and then as soon as COVID hit, obviously, it went crazy really.
That must have been tough. So when COVID came, how? Because I know from I'm going to go. Obviously, there was a main food supermarket by us, and what they found was during COVID, a lot of the people that didn't have to rely on food banks were taking from the food bank. So how did you separate it here?
Yeah, we just.
What were the challenges there?
So the challenge that is obviously we're always referral led. So we have our own phone. So it was interesting during COVID though. So we now run our own phone line as well as having referring. So we realised really early on that we had people like you said ringing up saying, "I've got money in the bank, I just can't have food. I just have food." So that's a different issue. So actually what we did were got people just going to their shopping for them. But actually for us as food bank, so we then started asking the 20 questions which Sisters Advice were asking about how you come into the food bank, what you need. So yeah, it was a tough time just because lots of other food banks in the city were closing down because, let's face it, all our volunteers at that time were all over 65. I mean, because that was the volunteer pool that pretty much everybody used because they're the people with their free time.
Yeah.
So literally overnight, we lost.
There were the more people at risk though.
Yeah, so literally 90% of our volunteers had to stay at home. So then we had a real issue that we had all these places that, because they all had the same situation and problem, is that they were shutting down. And so I mean, the people on the estate were going hungry. So then we had a real issue about what we're going to do, especially that end of February, that March time.
Yeah.
We had to turn around really quickly. But I pulled in every favour that I had to get the food in to make sure people were fed. So from there, we just carried on open sites. We went from about 4 sites to 16 in about a month.
During COVID?
Yeah, during COVID.
Yeah, during COVID. Yeah, we just, because the communities were reaching out saying, look, our food bank's closing down, or we've never had a food bank in this area, and we need people going hungry, what we're going to do about it. So we will, again, that question of what we're going to do about it always comes up.
How are you getting across during COVID then?
We're just in the van, so we were all in as little bubbles, we all had little teams, teams of 6, and then we were all separated so that we never met. We just did loads of, like everybody did at that time, did millions of Zoom calls. I mean, my phone for the first 6 weeks of COVID, my phone never stopped ringing. Literally off the hook, 24 hours a day. I mean, we just try to get food in and go to the estates. So it was really, so we set our own referral line up to make sure people were getting fed. Because again, not only did people not have food, but the referral agencies that were referring in, they were all furloughed as well. So all of a sudden, not only were food banks closing down or not being able to open, but the people who used to refer people into the food banks were all furloughed as well. So there was this vacuum of people really starving. So for us, it was really important that we quickly I mean, we did it like on an Excel. I mean, for the first 3-4, it used to break down literally like every minute. I mean, literally every 10 minutes, because the volume of it was like an Excel. It was a little Excel sheet. Until we got a decent computer company to say as a proper model.
You were just getting the mouse in the back.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it was literally. It felt like it some days. The computer system couldn't go.
I've always wondered with the food bank.
Yeah.
How do you assess? Is there a tier system? How do you assess like the demands and things of the families who need it the most, or is it people that don't need it the most, or is it all you?
No, all in one basket basically. So basically, we ask 20 questions, and so do the referrers, just to see what's going on in people's lives. I mean, a lot of them are really easy questions, but a lot of them are just a little bit trying to see what's really going on. Because actually, for us, it's not only about the food and the food bank. It's about getting them out of needing food banks, so to build their resilience, to build their confidence, so just give people back their dignity, because nobody wants to come through a food bank really. I mean, you just don't. Because if you go to a food bank, you pretty much admit you've got an issue. And actually,
it's interesting actually, because obviously I rung you about a year ago, and I sort of said I've got a lump of cash.
Yeah.
You know, what do you want me to get?
Yeah.
And the most interesting thing for me at the time, when you sort of said
nappies,
which obviously I'd not even thought about, but that was it.
Yeah.
And then I went to Asda, picked up a boatload of, I got my girls with me, and I'd got 2 trolleys full of nappies. And then there was a woman there, and she was like, you know, she sort of said to me, "What are you doing?" And I said, I'm taking it down to the food bank. And she was like, you could tell the way she was like, "Oh, that's brilliant," and you could tell she was struggling a little bit, you know, and like you say, she obviously had that, she was probably embarrassed to say it kind of thing, but it worked. That was it. So 2 eye openers was the fact that there wasn't food was the main priority, it was nappies, and then just her reaction made me think it's everywhere. It's everywhere now.
And every person, I mean. Anybody's, I mean, everybody's 2 paychecks away from needing a food bank. I mean, that's what we always say. And especially if you've got no family, no savings, a lot of people, I mean, more and more people, and that's what's driving our numbers actually, is people who are in work who are needing food. So for us, is what's changed over the time for this COVID was you pretty much knew who was going to use your food bank, and we could really add value to them guys, because usually it was people in chaotic lifestyles, and I'm generalising, or it was people who had been sanctioned on benefits. Well, actually, we've got advice workers in, we've got just get people to make right, correct decisions, and that's generalising, and then TAB could literally wipe people's sanction off quickly. But you add value really quickly and you stop people using Foodbank really quickly. But what we're finding now is it's people who are in work, they're not allowed benefits, they just can't afford to pay the bills at the end of the month. So pretend they paid the mortgage or the rent, paid the electric and gas, and just no spare income. And actually you only need one bill, or our numbers go up again in beginning of September, because there's always the bill of kids need new shoes for school, they need new uniforms, all that. So there's always a bill somewhere that people are unexpecting. Well, as soon as you're in that spiral of needing food banks, it's really, really difficult to get back out of it.
How do I word this? What type the people that are coming in who are in work, who are coming to the food banks, are we talking still earning a lot, or just
well, I think the problem is when 2-3 years ago you would have said they had an healthy income, but because the bills have gone up so much, I mean, the story I always share is a single mum, and this is whether it's single people, always couples, but this one is always stuck with me. It was a single mum. She came in at the end of September really, really worried, and her income was just under 2,100, and her rent and her bills at that time were 1,550, I think. So she was just managing. She had like 500 quid for all the bits and bobs. But that month, beginning of October, her rent was going up 200, 250 quid, and the gas and electric was going up 200, 250 quid. So all of a sudden, done. But actually then, she could go for years to this food bank. So again, what we're trying to do then is put a community around her. So we're all about delivering food parcels, helping people with their debt and their rent issues, but also building communities around people. And then for us we run 13 sites in Sheffield, but actually we don't really run them, the communities run them. We let the communities run them, we're just a support service really, give them food, put all the support agencies in. Because the plan is, actually, that community needs to help that person.
Yeah, definitely.
Because obviously, we can't just keep giving food to somebody, so it's how they do that.
Have you seen a change in the type of person coming in since when you were...
No, absolutely. I mean, massive change. It's a massive change. Even in the last 2 years, it's a massive change, people are coming in. Yeah. And all our sites are very different, so that's the other issue that we have. Not it's an issue we have, it's great that we have people from different cultures, different diverse backgrounds, from different countries or working class. We have such a diverse in our sites. So again, sometimes that's why we really rely on our figures to help us determine what that estate or what that part of the city needs. And we've got that in line. I mean, we've got data going back 15 years from when we first opened right through. And that's what helps us work out what that area needs in lifetime. So we have debt workers, advice workers, all the good stuff in all our sites, housing, mind, mental health, shelter, all that.
So in that 14 years, obviously, it will have probably undulated and but at the moment, it's as high as it's been.
It's as high as it's ever been, but I think we're going to be about 10. We were 20% higher last year, but I think we're going to be about 10% lower this year. And that's just down to us. We put more money into our debt workers and as advice workers. So it's more debt workers and advice workers we can get into our communities, into our cities. Then that really helps us tackle the need of what the person who's coming through our door. And again, it's that thing, people don't want to be here, and we need to give them back their dignity of being able to go into their own shop. And we do that by giving them the advice as quick as possible. The quicker we can get people to see an advice worker, the quicker we can get them out.
So people coming in here, getting the food banks, also saying to you, oh, by the way, I need to
So we do that as part of our referral. So one of the things we do as part of our referral is we ask about food, but we ask about what else is going on. And then as part of that, we say, well, actually, when you come in, you're not going to be collecting food, you'll be seeing, I don't know, John, for instance. And that he's the debt worker. Whatever they've said, we'll have a worker there. Or we have ambassadors. All our sites, we have people who sit and just chat like this. Over a cup of coffee.
Are they all volunteers?
All volunteers, right. We have staff who do our advice work and our debt work, but everyone who comes to our centres are all volunteers.
What numbers are you looking at volunteers at the moment?
300. Week in, week out. We have such a dedicated bunch of volunteers.
And that's across all of us.
Across all our sites. I mean, brilliant. We couldn't do it. I mean, and then in our warehouse, we have about another 30, 40, 50 a week.
My mother actually, I told her yesterday I'm volunteering tomorrow. And my mother sort of said, ask about me, because and I probably wrongly said, because Because I'd signed up thinking you'll have me lifting and
Yeah,
shifting
yeah,
and
yeah.
quite physical work, but presumably there's a home for some
Everybody, I mean, we believe that everybody can help out of the food bank,
Yeah.
and that's the key. It's
Yeah.
everybody helps each other, and that's how. I mean, that's always been our core message. I mean, you look to our right, and we've got like 150 pallets in, but it's still local people helping local people, and that's our strength. From whatever background, you can come and help at the food bank.
I was going to ask that, the spec of volunteers,
Yeah.
age ranges and job
Well,
wise.
even just
Absolutely.
walking through, presumably the cafe, everyone will
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have people who have gone through domestic abuse and all that kind of stuff, helping in our cafes, right through to, somebody who owns their own company, and everybody in between, basically. Because again, it's Sheffield, everybody coming together at Sheffield, and we all learn from each other. So the guy who's owned a company for 30, 40 years learns from a guy who's got an addiction issue. I think it's a really nice thing, actually. We all learn from each other. And it's whether we want to take that advice, and that's what we do at the tables when we sit down having a cup of coffee with somebody. We can advise them, or we can say to them, why don't you come and see this person, they come and give you an help. And actually what you need people to do is, what happens is when people come into the food bank is, they're up to here with stress and whatever's going on, angst basically. So we need them to sit down, have a cup of coffee and just breathe. And as soon as they breathe, you think, right, we can do something, we can actually work.
Is I'm going to say, when you're saying about that, telling people to come down, is the counselling services?
Yeah, we have counselling, we have the events teams in, all that really good stuff. The council teams are great at coming in the events. Again, because instead of the council teams running around the estate for 2 hours, because actually most people who they need to see, I'm generalising, will come to our food bank. So actually it really helps them and it really helps us. And again, it helps the person because they know that actually they've got all these issues, or got an issue, that service is in their local food bank. And then the issue, the thing for that for us is then going forward, as our numbers reduce, and they will reduce, they have reduced this year, we're not quite end of the year yet, but I think there will be a 10% reduction this year from a 20% increase last year, so we've definitely altered it. But then people know you're there, and for us is, if we leave them services in every community, we can withdraw as food bank, especially the scale and the size they are at the moment, actually leave them services in place, we have great community leaders, and actually the food banks can pull back a bit, because they'll not be needed as much as we are at the moment. And actually, as we build them communities back to being what they should be, with them services in them communities, that's really important. People know it, and then before they get into a situation where it's just deep or entrenched poverty or entrenched bills, they know they can go straight to see their advice worker.
Yeah. I mean, there's people who won't be able to see it, but when you come here, there's a warehouse to our right that's absolutely full of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you want to just tell people who are going to be watching the episode
Yeah.
how you source it all and how it,
Yeah.
pallets, etc., how it all comes into it?
Yeah, so obviously to my right is about 140 pallets of food, but to put it in reality, I know you guys can't see it, but 140 pallets is about 3 weeks worth of stock. So there's actually not enough food to the right of me to get us through to the end of January,
Right.
which is a 4,000 square foot warehouse, to put it in context. We, again, what happened for us is we were relying on general donations, which even 4 years ago was like 85% of our food was people donating, because we were about local people helping local people. And but what happened, as soon as our numbers started to go up, and during COVID, we had
in your requirement.
requirements, well, the amount of food we needed to make sure we was making sure these families, because our line is that nobody in Sheffield goes hungry, is a really important thing for us.
Good line.
And and actually in that, but then you need a lot of food to buy that statement. You need a lot of food
If
to
you
buy
like
that.
chopped tomatoes.
Yeah, chopped tomatoes. Yeah, I've got
another.
another container of chopped tomatoes coming in tomorrow. Anyway, that's a different story. But then we had a decision to make whether we still carried on with people donating food as they were, or whether we went to a money first system. And it was just right that we went to money first.
Yeah.
So we asked people to donate money instead of food. And some people, that's difficult because they want to physically give, and I fully get that, and we still are fine with that. But actually, then money donations to us, one, we can make every pound make it to about £1.50, and then actually we can plan exactly what we need to buy in. And we import as well, so we import all our tomatoes, all our fruit, all the spaghetti is imported direct to us.
Where are they imported from?
Spain, Turkey, Italy, and Ukraine, but through Italy. The sweet corn came from
And
Ukraine.
why is that? Is it more cost effective?
Cost effective and guaranteed stock. And we work with an importer who's a sound guy, and they're in workshop, and they're brilliant for us. And we just import. So at the moment, for instance, to gain geeky, a tin of tomatoes is 49p anywhere if you can buy them, but we're paying 32, 33. So we're saving 16p a tin, and we buy delivered to our door.
What's the feedback you get generally from the community and people from using a place like this? What do you get feedback to you directly?
Yeah, I mean, it's positive. It's usually always positive. Obviously, you always get people who are a bit grumpy about food banks existing and all that stuff, and people saying that people only come because it's there.
That's what I mean. The stigma's getting attached to food banks now. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's right. And I do I get it? Do I understand that? Do I believe that? I don't think I do believe that. I went to a meeting, I got heckled at one I was speaking at a few weeks ago, and that was the heckle really, apart from the
I won't heckle you, I don't know.
thank you, yeah. She was like 80, she was ferocious, this woman, she just didn't believe.
And what was her name?
Her main thing was that people come to the food bank because it's there.
Not because they're desperate.
They're desperate in need of it.
And again, you don't sound, I'm a cynical old guy.
Yeah.
But do you think there is an element, albeit a small percentage?
Do you know, so we always think there is, but we're always on top of that because that's what we have our referral system for. But what we found is the people who are coming not necessarily in need of food, they're in need of another service. And they've used Foodbank before to get food, and they know we're there to help them. And actually, we just need to quickly get to that point of actually, hey, this guy doesn't, or this person doesn't need food, but what they need is, so there's the one that we had about 6 weeks ago. We have they're rare. I mean, we see 600 families a week, so we get one or two maybe. So the one we had the other week was he kept coming down for food, and we knew there was something weren't quite right with it, but we let him have food for a couple of weeks, and anyway, we got to the bottom of it. And he was literally getting evicted on the Friday, and he came into on a Thursday, and he had to say it.
Yeah.
But it took him 2 weeks of coming down for food. Because again, nobody wants to say, I'm going to get evicted.
No.
I mean, because it brings all sorts of stuff up. But because he felt it was a safe place, he came down and disclosed it. We were really fortunate that day, and it doesn't always happen like this, and that's I'm sharing it, and it's not something that happens every time. But the guy who actually issued the eviction letter was literally sat across from him. So the guy literally, so I was like, well, we'll chat to him, he's there. So he chatted to him, he got it sorted, he left like skipping after coming in like he got like 10 ton on his back.
So he kept his place?
Kept his place. Right. But again, not only that saved him from being evicted and going through all the homeless stuff again and all that kind of stuff. But he also saved the council because actually they didn't have to go and repair the place. It saved them a bunch of cash, all that stuff that they have to do, relock it, all that kind of stuff by keeping this guy in his property, and that it worked really well. So I fully get people saying, but there's always something behind somebody coming to our food bank.
And I suppose it's one of those where it's a fine line between, as we know, it's hard for people to ask for help, so you don't want to then have a go at someone before asking. But
we're always on it. I mean, we are always on it. So our average use of our food bank is 4.3 vouchers. That's an average time somebody uses our food bank for to get from into ours. So we're always on top of that.
How do they get the vouchers?
So again, you can ring our phone line up, or more and more frontline agencies or citizen advice workers. So again, we're all about, and you've got to do that every week, because again, it's part of the journey out of, they've got to be fully committed to their own journey. They've got to make the phone call, they've got to go through that process, they've got to be part of that journey. And again, when they've got the debt or they've got the housing issues or whatever issue it is, they've got to do it. We will hold their hand and support them every step of the way, but it's their journey, it's what they're doing. And that's really important, because we need to build resilience and actually dignity that it's that person who's going to do it. And actually, you just think that a lot of people just feel a bit battered.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose the difficulty though, a little bit like you talked about that woman before, who had X amount in the pot, and then all of a sudden, beyond downsizing, which I know is an option, they need to, because £1,500 rent or whatever.
Rent and bills and everything else.
But it's one of those where it's never a nice conversation, but even if somebody does that, it's a difficulty, isn't it? Because it's sort of like bills are spiralling, prices are spiralling. You can give somebody all help in the world, but ultimately, if their situation is they're ultimately going to have less coming in than going out, then they're going to be trapped.
Absolutely, and that's why building communities is really important to us, because Foodbank is a short-term answer, but the long-term answer is building strong communities. I'm a big believer in building them communities where we can look after each other.
And with that in mind, then, what's your long-term goal? If we helicopter view of Sheffield in 10 years' time, what do you?
Well, I think every community would have services that people can access. Again, we talk about poverty, and everyone thinks about it being food and all that stuff, but actually poverty is not being able to access stuff and not having to have a choice. So I'd put a decent supermarket in every community that has got cheap items in it. Again, there's lots of areas where they haven't got a big Tesco or a big Asda. I know I'm talking about building Asda's or Tesco's, but at least a shop that people can go to reliably and get cheaper food instead of paying an absolute fortune for it. Yeah. Good transport routes. Again, transport's a massive issue in Sheffield, just for the cost of it. And we have lots of people who, I use the word in prison to the council, it upsets them. But I really feel that actually, some areas of Sheffield, you can't, after 7 o'clock at night or before 6 o'clock in the morning, there's no buses running because they're not profitable routes. Yeah. That's a real issue for some of our families who are trying to get to work. Yeah. I mean, one of our guys, one of our staff, he's actually moved closer now, but he was at Stocksbridge. And every Saturday morning, he could not get here for 8 o'clock. I don't think 8 o'clock's a bad time to start. No. He could, because the bus was 7:10, and it was like hit and miss. I mean, 1 out of 3 times it turned up at 7:10.
I think that's the trouble as well, isn't it? It's sort of price of bus fares has gone, or is about to go up again. Yeah. And then I remember recently, me and my wife, we thought, we'll jump on bus into town rather than, and anyway, 20 minutes went by, 25 minutes. Yeah. And luckily we saw somebody, and they ended up getting us a lift into town, and I thought, then people start at bus stop, they haven't got that option.
No, exactly. And that's the option, that's the thing about poverty is people don't have that option. They don't have that choice. They don't have that choice to go into to drive 5 miles to a cheaper supermarket. They don't have that choice to go to their advice worker or their council workers. Yeah. It's a choice. And then I talk about transport. I mean, I live in Middlewood. I live 4 tram stops from here, where we sat. And it's £2.40, which fair enough, I can afford it. It's £2.40 for 4 stops. I go to London quite a lot, because obviously we supply food banks in London. I usually go to about 5 food banks, literally across London. And for a day oyster savoury is £3.40. And I can go literally anywhere in London without £3.40.
Yeah, you can't get a saver anymore. Can
it's
you?
like £5, I think. You tap your car, I sorry.
No, I mean, like you say on the super tram, I remember because my girls wanted to go on my daughters, and I said, we'll have a Meadowhall return, or we don't do a return. You just got to pay everything individually.
It's crazy, and like you say, you go to London, you tap on, tap off, with your credit card or whatever card it is. I mean, I thought it would be like 20-30 quid.
When I first did it, I thought we were going to get fleeced.
I did too. That's exactly what I thought. I couldn't, honestly, it shocked me and angered me at the same time, actually, that why haven't we got that in Sheffield? And I know the councillors and local mayors are trying to get that in, but actually, until we get to that point where we've got really good bus services, it's holding people back. And actually, just for people's mental health, never mind work, people who are on estates, you can't get to the green areas, that they just need to be able to go and get be able to breathe. Actually, we all need them green spaces where we just go and breathe.
I'm in recruitment, and it's only now that because a number of times I'll talk to people around vacancies, and you just take it as a given that somebody can drive, and then when they can't drive, I'll put my hand up and sort of say sometimes you're a bit like, why don't they drive? But again, it's that choice thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
and a number of times I've actually found somebody a job, and then, as I said, they can't get there at a certain time or whatever it be. Yeah. So
it's complicated lifestyles. It's just that's the thing. We all want the best, and we all expect, but it's just different for everybody, and that's people's mental health is a real issue at the moment. Yeah. And that's why we have Mind in our centres, is because mental health is a real issue for people.
Well, we're on the mental health, Chris.
Yeah.
This is a well-organised run machine here. You've got to be on top of it.
Thank you.
I'm going to keep it the sweet side. But how do you handle it? Because you go out, do you go out the
Oh,
day?
yeah, well,
I've got the orders coming through, I've got this.
I've got,
I just stay on top of it.
Yeah, I've got, so for my own mental health, I've got 4 acres of land that we rent just on the outskirts of Sheffield, and I've got pigs and chickens and bees, and actually that's my place.
I saw a few pigs down.
Yeah, you've seen a pig feed there, keep a pig feed here, yeah. I mean, the price of pig, it's a different story, the price of pig feed. But anyway, I need that space, which is completely different.
Right, okay.
Again, it's that green space.
Yeah.
And it's somewhere to go, just be able to go and pray or just have some peace and just think and let it all go and then come out ready to go again.
So that's what you do?
That's what I do.
Top of you to the field.
So,
Yeah,
how often
yeah.
are you here? An hour
Oh,
are you
6
not?
days, yeah.
I was going to say every time I've ever run
yeah. I mean, it's been a busy week this week. But
So it's Sunday all day then?
Sunday, my day off, literally sit in front of, usually in front of the telly on a Sunday is what I usually do, watch a bit of footy.
So the farm's the way out?
The way out for me, yeah, and that was always, I mean, even through my addiction, I mean, we've had it since 2008, so we've had it for a long time actually.
Right.
It's the place I go up to, and I chainsaw, cut some bush down, all that kind of stuff.
On the subject of footy, you're a blade.
Oh, I'm a blade.
You're a blade.
Yeah, from that side, Sheffield, yeah, absolutely.
Well, sitting pretty, top of the league.
Well, yeah.
As per, time of filming.
Well, yeah, we'll see what.
On the subject of football, I support Everton.
Yeah.
And I've got to mention it because I said I would. And it's Dave Kelly, who's the fans advisory board.
Yeah.
He runs in Liverpool, between Liverpool and Goodison and Anfield, fans supporting Foodbanks.
Yeah.
So they're expecting, I think they're doing it, and they must do, I think they do it a lot, Dave will tell me otherwise. About every football ground's got one and they're starting to set it up, where the fans are bringing food in and stuff like that. They've got big challenges at the moment where obviously one of this Merseyside team, my team, is struggling, so people are going to match day and I don't need to take bags of food with me because my point is, what's the biggest challenges you face here for a 6 food bank?
He's always done monetary donations. I mean, the scale of it, I mean, we've gone so big, and that's why we import or we work with the distribution centres. One of our staff members, her job is to make sure we're paying the best price on every item. So finance is always the key for us. So money, I mean, we've grown massively over the years, so we're always trying to raise cash money in. And the Sheffield people are just amazing, actually. I think it was close to £500,000 they donated last year. I mean, year in year, I mean, obviously we've got a massive warehouse behind me, which is like 150 pallets, which usually comes on containers and all the big lorries, which is fine, but it's quite soul destroying if I'm honest, just unloading lorries. But actually what we do on a Saturday, we run the local collection, which is like Forward, Crooks, Walkley, Encliffe Park, and we get out to and chat to people, and they're my favourite part of the week actually.
So when you go to some places, they're bringing food to you?
Yeah, they bring people, so we have like a set position and they bring food down, so we kind of chat to people, and it's actually the Labour Party and the Green Party who all run our community collections, which is great again because it's really good for us that the councillors are there listening to what people are saying as well.
I know the Green Party Council are banging your drum big time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I mean, they're great for us. I mean, it works both ways, that actually they need to be supporting people, but they need to be listening as well. So it works really well for us, and they've been up for it. I mean, that's the thing. We can all have this opinion about councillors or politicians, but actually both Labour and Labour and Greens councillors have put the money where their mouth is and stand there on a Saturday morning and listen to what people have got to say. And that can only be a good thing. I think that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So again, it's that thing of drawing community together and a place where people can come and donate, but also tell the politicians what they think.
Are the food banks out there who aren't getting that type of support?
Well, hopefully, I mean, we support all the independents in Sheffield, because again, for us, it's not only about our 13 sites, so we sell the food onto those independent food banks at cost price, and we do that across the UK as well.
In total, how many are there in Sheffield?
About 26, 27, I think.
Half of them are yours.
Well, half of them are ours, yeah, that's right. But again, if the food bank is struggling, we're always there to have a chat with them.
I didn't realise there were that many.
Yeah, there's lots. I mean, pretty much every estate has got one. Some really, really good ones.
I notice a lot of the bigger chain supermarkets are starting to get donations into them.
Yeah, that's right.
How do you feel about that?
It can only be a good thing. It can only be a good thing, I think.
Asda's and Tesco.
That's right. Asda and Tesco we do a lot with. Waitrose. I mean, Waitrose is it's a posh shop, but they're really good to us.
Do the type of places pass on to you?
Yeah, they pass on to us. Yeah, they're drop-ins. Yeah, we go and collect like 3 times a week from them. But again, it's the people who are buying that food and putting them in them drop-ins.
Yeah.
So
what about when the supermarkets are shut? Say, for instance, tonight, and they've got all the loaves and stuff and all that to take out.
Yeah.
Well, does that not come to you?
It don't come to us, it goes to other amazing charities across Sheffield that make meals with it. Yeah, all the homeless charities, or they make meals with it. So for us, our model is food that's well in date. And the reason that is, there's not wrong with food that's close to date. I mean, we all eat close to date food. But actually, if you come into a food bank and I give you a tin of food that's just either out of date or 2 days left, what am I telling you you're worth?
Shit, I get it. Yeah.
And actually for us, it's just that mental and mindset. Actually, we need to be saying that you're the most amazing person in the world. And by giving them a short dated or out dated tin of food, we tell you actually we don't really believe that. So there's not wrong with that, but actually for us, it's just not our model. Because we just need to build people up to be able to get them out of their situation, and we do that by making them feel really welcome and giving them the best we can. And there's no wrong, again, there's nothing wrong with short dating food. I get a bit of hassle from it sometimes, but actually there's no wrong with it.
It's a relatively new thing as well.
It is,
I mean, like a tin, for example, I know you could probably open a tin of tomatoes from 70s, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, it'd be fine, exactly. Yeah.
What about sort of teaching, and again, forgive me because you may well do this, but what about teaching people how to, do you teach people how to batch cook?
We don't not to batch cook, but to use their ingredients well. So we do cook and eat classes. We usually do it around our debt courses or our advice courses, because again, food brings people together. So what we do is we use it's usually a 15-week course, and we usually have about 15 people on the course, and everybody cooks 1 week or cook together. And actually that way it helps people.
Like a come down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're at the school. It actually brings people together and gets people to learn and all that stuff. So it does work. I'd love to do more of that actually, but we do lots of the Jack Monroe recipes. Jack Monroe is a lady from London who used food banks and has wrote loads of cookbooks on it. And she's amazing, so she's got loads of cookbooks.
And I think that's the thing, sometimes, again, it's they haven't necessarily got the option to do it, but like, I know Jamie Oliver, sorry for dropping his name in there, but he was doing something recently which was like a microwave meal or what, and it's, you know, he's frustrating because he'll grab something out of the cupboard and think, who's got that? But it's sort of, as you say, sometimes people just don't know how to utilise what they've got in the cupboard and can actually make a meal. I was listening to a podcast the other day actually, and they were sort of saying that back in the day, in the 80s, 70s, somebody knocked on the door and your mum would put an extra tin of tomatoes actually in the food to make it, you know, to make it thin out, and sort of someone else would have a bit of it. And I think it's doing those things.
I mean, I remember having water. The natural thing was having water in the milk.
To thin it out.
It was. I mean, I was like 18 and 19 before I realised that you didn't have water in your milk.
To be honest, I've always kind of thought
it was like skimmed milk before it was skimmed milk.
People who buy skimmed milk, I don't know why you won't just buy full fat.
That's what it was. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, all that.
It's S6 food banks.
Yes.
What does the food bank, this S6 food bank area cover-wise, so people who are watching?
So we call Sheffield 6 because we're literally based in Sheffield 6, and we've always been called that, but now because we run 13 sites across Sheffield, it is a bit of a weird name still.
That's what people said to me, like,
I know,
S6 food bank. What is it just S6 Hillsborough Crooks and all
that? No, so we do it like everywhere from Parson Cross to Manitoba and everything in between. And again, that came...
You've already touched on the fact that there's no postcode divide.
No postcode divide, no. We try to make sure there's a food bank within a mile, because again, most people walk to the food bank unless they're a worker. So again, we try to make sure there's the footprint of the food banks were all within a mile of each other. So
and you talked about you've got a staff of 300 volunteers. If somebody wants to get involved in volunteer,
drop me an email. Yeah, we'll get them signed up, and again, that could be anything from packing bags to sitting at tables to doing whatever. Really.
I'm hoping you've got something quite physical for me.
Yeah, we've got loads of food to sort, lots of Christmas donations to sort out tomorrow. So that's what you're going to be doing.
Have you got any upcoming events or campaigns that you want to tell anyone about? Or
look at our look at our social media. We have got campaigns coming up. We have a great media team who deals with all that stuff. I've got a goldfish memory. I forget them as soon as I'm told them. But yeah, please look on our social medias. There's always updates on there. And again, what we're trying to do with people is, if they've got a passion, well, why don't they do that passion and raise money for us? Yeah. So we have lots of people who actually think, we have lots of craft clubs who make stuff, and we had the Uterbridge Pixies, who are a group of ladies who make wreaths every year and literally invite all the community in, charge them 30 quid, they provide all the stuff. I mean, it's amazing.
To make the wreaths.
To make the wreaths, but they make £1,000 a year for us to donate it to Foodbank. Mm-hmm. Again, it's what they love doing, so they're like, well, why don't we do it as a community? Again, it's raising money, but it's also getting communities together. So that for me is a really good.
Like you said, a community thing is probably not more beneficial because people need to eat, but like you say, it's that building so that they've got a
and then we have big businesses. Again, if you've got a business or you're in a business, then ask your manager or boss if he wants to donate or come down. We have lots of teams who come down twice a week, Tuesday and Thursdays. We're open to corporate volunteers coming in to do us packing and stuff. So we have all that.
I saw something about Steel City Marketing did.
That's right. Yeah, they volunteered. Yeah, we have lots and lots of companies coming down to do their days. Again, it helps them, but it raises awareness for us as well. So that really helps us. Because again, these people, because they're working Monday to Friday, have never seen a food bank before, especially something of this scale.
Yeah, definitely.
So actually for us it's really important that we get that message across to them guys so they can share with their, I'm fully cynical about it, we need their donations. So if they've all got 100 people, then I'm reaching 500 to 1,000 people. That's the key.
It's like Aladdin's cave, isn't it?
It is.
Aladdin's cave is full of tins.
Yeah. It's full on.
Since starting this business, what's been the most rewarding experience for you?
I think just seeing people debt-free. I mean, we've had 51 families debt-free this year. And we put 1.2 million back into people's pockets. So just seeing that person come through the door with an heavy weight on their shoulders and going out skipping because somebody's listened, been able to help, and they feel that relief. I think, and we say that to everyone of our volunteers actually, no matter what size the numbers are, which numbers are 600 families a week, just concentrating that person in front of you and treat them like they're gold, because actually that's what we want everybody to be. Actually, everybody to be listened to and everybody to be helped.
That's the main point of it all, isn't it?
Yeah.
So one thing that I ask everyone who we get on the podcast is, now you know a little bit about us and what we're doing, i.e. celebrating local people. Anyone that you are aware of that we probably don't know, you think we should try and get in front of and hear their story?
Can I come back to you on that one? I'll find out. I have got somebody. I need to ask them first. Is that all right?
Absolutely.
Do they work here?
They don't work here. No, they work somewhere else. That's right. Yeah, somewhere else. But I'll let you know tomorrow.
No, that's good, because I think it's one of those where, like you say, you probably have to have that conversation
first. And then I'll chat to them and see if they're up for it.
Chris, been an absolute pleasure.
No, absolute pleasure.
No,
thank you. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Anytime.
We're off to count tins of tomatoes. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
The day after we met Chris, Trav was back at the food bank doing some volunteering and spoke with some of those who work alongside and volunteer regularly.
I'm here today with Joe from the S6 Food Bank, doing some volunteering, and obviously you work here a lot. What's Chris like as a person?
Good kind, friendly person. Gets the job done.
He seems really modest about his what he does here, and it's all about the food bank. But he's here 6 days a week, by the sounds of things. So
he is definitely a hard worker.
He puts a shift in. How long have you been volunteering yourself?
About 2 or 3 years on that.
And what made you get involved?
Just wanted to do something to help out these.
This got a delivery coming in, haven't you?
Yeah, so this is this last container. We have 2 of these a month of different items, and then we've got 2 more lorries coming in. And we have full bodies a day, pretty much.
Where's this coming from then?
This has come from Italy. Sorry guys, completely slacking.
Hi guys, so I'm here with Bethany, who's worked with Chris for how many?
2.5 years.
2.5 years, and you helping out with all the strategic sort of buying side, is that
yes. Right? Yeah. So we work together in the warehouse.
What's Chris like as a person?
Very down to earth, very humble. Has come from a difficult background and has really lived life in that sense, and is now doing this and just really giving in that space and just really cares. It's not about glory or gratification, it is about that person that's walking in the door and their experience in their life, and how can we come alongside them to move forward into the next part of their life. And he's very giving in that, and is an amazing person to work with.
Chris?
Yes, pal.
I'm going to get off, my friend.
Thank you so much. Have a good Christmas, mate.
Keep doing what you're doing, mate.
Thanks, pal. We really appreciate it.
Right.
On our next episode, we'll be interviewing David Warman, who has deep roots in Sheffield but was born and raised in Watford before relocating to Sheffield when he was 19. David has been delivering solutions to help young people overcome barriers to learning in a variety of settings since 2004, and today he is Chief Executive of SHAPE, which stands for Sheffield Alternative Provision for Education. SHAPE is a business he founded in 2019, which offers alternative education 3 days per week, where they support young people with their social and emotional skills, build resilience, develop their academic self-awareness and life skills. In 2025, David and his team aim to establish a dedicated premises in Sheffield, with the vision of evolving into a fully fledged school. This will enable them to support children 5 days a week and extend their services beyond the limitations of their current setup.
Join us for episode 7 and hear David's amazing story.